Well, hello everybody. This is Alex Utterman from UCBK. We're going to talk about Muruga, the supreme spiritual warrior and keeper of the Shakti Vel. I've made this video as a compilation of other teachings and other talks from other times and places, and I hope you enjoy it.
Muruga. Oh yeah, he rides a peacock. Peacocks are associated with Muruga. So this is how he's usually depicted. This is his Shakti veil that he gets from the mother. Interesting mudras on his um, fingers that he's showing like that. There's a depth of meaning in that. So Lord Muruga, they show him often as a little kid with his peacock. He rides a peacock. Why does he ride a peacock? Peacock signals vanity, one level. So he's conquered vanity. He is the most unpretentious, most stripped down, most raw, most straight with the truth, unfiltered. There are no filters with Muruga. He has, as they say, no shits to give. He's just straight with it. And when they show him as a little kid, there are whole stories about him where in his child form, he's like maybe 10 years old, something. He hangs out around the saints who are physicalized in this world and who have gotten above their station with their egoism without their notice. And he systematically taunts them and goads them and pushes their buttons in this like really charming, mischievous, no filter way as a little kid and deflates their egoism. There's a movie actually that they made, I guess it's from Tamil Nadu, about Muruga. And when he's a little kid, he's like hanging out on a fence post, chewing a straw, just being like a little kid. And this lady saint comes by. She's a huge bhajan singer, big maha lady. And he starts pulling out her pretentiousness. And the joke of it is that she's famous for singing Muruga bhajans. She sings songs about Muruga all the time. She composes them. She sings them in the temples. And when he starts poking at her, she gets all upset. And who is this upstart child who's like, insinuating that I'm less than? And finally she gets so incensed. She does the Tamil Nadu equivalent of "Don't you know who I am?" I mean, it's pretty hilarious. Talking about the pin popping the big balloon, right, of the egoism. And then finally somehow she gets it that he's Muruga, and then oh my god, it's just so embarrassing. She goes to his feet like, I had no idea. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. So he plays like that. He plays with vanity. He plays with egoism, and he is a hardball reflecting it back. Like, no, an accurate mirror for sure. But the peacock also, we heard in Paramashiva Yoga the other couple sessions back in the satsangs that the peacock feather is one of the most powerful naturally occurring power objects on the planet. Peacock feathers, they can transmit energy. You can give people Shaktipat by brushing them with a whole handful of peacock feathers, for example. But the peacock, its inner nature, it's two things what Swami said about the peacocks. One is that I've never seen anything scientifically that backs this up, and he asked us to research it, but the peacock, if a male peacock just simply looks at a female peacock, she'll get pregnant. They don't actually have to have any sexual union. And Swami said they're the highest tantric animal on the planet. That's interesting. Straight Shiva and Shakti. And then the peacocks in India are known for they'll eat poisonous snakes. They'll eat the cobras. Some peacocks, they only eat like the really, really most poison cobras. They can handle the poison. They can handle the alahala. They can handle the illusion of the mother. They can handle even time, which is the big poison. So Muruga riding a peacock is a very big indicator of a lot of things, right? Usually when it's their ride, it means they've conquered those aspects of the creation. So like Shiva's ride is Nandi, the bull. The bull signifies enjoyment, like sensual enjoyment of the world. Well, Shiva riding that is beyond all that, right? So Muruga on top of the peacock is like no vanity, no pretentiousness, no egoism, no crowing about how great one is. Additionally, that ability to handle any poison, to handle the mother in a smart way. Muruga is expert with the mother. Oh, he's so smart with her. So his little kid form is really heart melting. So this on his palm here, this is the Tamil symbol for the Om. Tamil Nadu is one of the oldest languages on the planet, and it's Muruga himself who created that language. And he gave it to a beautiful Tamil siddha, one of the 18 top siddhas, named Agastya. And it's through Agastya that the Tamil language came into being. Agastya is a central part of our lineage of saints. He's one of the Saptarishis also, and Agastya is the creator of all the astrologies and the palm leaf books that people do where they do their thumbprint and get their thing. But that Om, this is the Om, and you often see it as part of the depiction in the graphic structure of Muruga. They like to put him inside that Om when they show him. Oh, Muruga. So you see his peacock feather, right? So he's got some indication there's a peacock around, and his veil, the Shakti Vel, which we'll talk about. Poster art. So you can see the cobra underneath the peacock. This is one of his places. And this is one of his aspects also. The way he's dressed here, kind of like a simple yogi, that corresponds to this, one of his 6 places. I'm just showing you the art to give you an impression of who is this character. With his brother. Oh, so this is really interesting. If you remember from Ganesha, from the Ganesh teaching, Swami's statement was usually when you see Ganesh depicted with Shiva and Shakti, he is not sitting on mama's lap. He's sitting over on daddy, because he doesn't want anything to do with the illusions of the mother. Who sits on mama's lap? Muruga. He is so comfortable with her wild illusions. He's completely at ease with the mother, which is partly, I think, why he's such an antidote to the crazy illusions that swirl around Mother Divine. But he navigates through her illusions he's so comfortable in it. He's steeped in her illusion that he's like a clear way out of her illusion. Actually, so there's an amazing story about there was a saint, a Muruga saint, who was famous. This is like in the 1400s, I think, or maybe the 1200s, South Indian, of course. This guy, he was famous for singing bhajans to Muruga and having Muruga come and give darshan to like whoever is there. Like Muruga would show up in person. And this saint, so back in the day, this is going to sound nuts, but this is the way the Vedic culture operated. Saints would have challenges to each other, like big challenges on knowledge and on divinity and the mechanisms. And so these saints would like roam around India challenging each other and having these big public debates or contests, all kinds of levels. So the deal is, this guy, the saint, he has this ability to bring Muruga, and he gets into a saint competition with another saint. The other guy has a really strong connection to Mahakali, like very strong, to the Mother Divine. And so the challenge is, can you really bring Muruga in front of, and there's something like, it's thousands of people, maybe it's 10,000 or more people. The Kali saint challenges the Muruga saint. Yeah, sure. Let's see if you can sing bhajans and bring Muruga there. And the Muruga saint, he's very humble, and he's like, well, it usually happens, so I don't see why not. So they assemble, all the people are there. And it turns out that the Kali saint, he's kind of unscrupulous. And he has one final boon. He's really upset the mother a lot, but he has this strong bond with her. Anyway, he has one final boon from her. And then she's like, all right, I'll give you this one thing, but then you and I are kind of done. And the boon that he asks from her is that when the Muruga saint starts singing to her, to Muruga, that she holds Muruga on her lap and won't let him come down and give darshan. So she agrees, but then she's like, all right, but that's so awful. I'm not giving you any more boons now, friend. We're done. But she has to honor that because he has this kind of relationship with her. So comes the day of the competition, all the people are there. The Muruga saint is singing to Muruga and nothing happens. And everybody's waiting and waiting. And he keeps singing to Muruga and nothing's happening. And he's singing and he's singing. It's like, what is going on? This is really weird. In his inner consciousness, he tunes in and he sees what's happening on the celestial. And on the celestial, it's pretty close to this, that he's singing to Muruga and Muruga is trying to get out of her arms. Muruga sitting on her lap and he's struggling and struggling because whenever you sing a divine name, they have to show up. That's the deal. That's why bhajans are so powerful. And Muruga is struggling and struggling. Mother's holding him back, holding him back, holding him back. Well, the Muruga saint sees this happening and he's like, oh, now he's got the whole picture, right? He gets what's going on. So he switches and he starts singing bhajans to the mother. How beautiful she is, how great she is, all her aspects. And mother gets so lulled in the beauty of his singing that she starts to go kind of into a trance, into the bliss. And she loosens her grip on Muruga. And in that moment, Muruga fails down and gives his darshan, and thousands of people. This is a big story in the spiritual history of this planet. It happened. Everybody gets his darshan. And so that Muruga saint won the day because he saw clearly the mechanism, what was actually happening there, and knew what to do, like how to calm the mother down to the point where she'd forget to hold Muruga back and then he could come. He's kind of amazing. Shiva and Shakti with both of them, right? So here's half Shiva, half Shakti, the form called Ardharnarishvara, half, which is the truth of their natures. You know, we talk about Shiva, the father, we talk about Shakti, the mother, yet their energies are always really intertwined and they really are coming from the same place. They are the same, but they're showing different aspects in our creation. So mother has her tiger here, Shiva has his bull, Muruga has his peacock, and Ganesha has his little rat. Where's his rat? His rat should be there somewhere. Oh, there's the rat. The Holy Family, as it were. And it's interesting that all of them represent an aspect of the human system. Like they're part of our structure and our vastu physically, as well as energetically. The right side of the body is the male, the left side is the female. So our right side is Shiva, our left side is mother. If you look at photographs of high divine souls like Yogananda, Muktananda, Ramana Maharshi, Sri Ramakrishna, Shirdi Baba, Kaleshwar, etc. If you take half of their face on the picture and you look at the other half, they're like a completely different face. The eyes especially. They're embodying half Shiva, half Shakti, but we don't realize that when we're dealing with them. So right side is male, left side is mother. The third eye is Muruga, the root is Ganesha. So this is like, in a way, the vastu, the north, south, east, west, if you will, of the human structure. It's represented with these four characters. And Ayappa, the Brahma consciousness, the sun who's never shown, is the whole consciousness that informs the whole human system. Shiva with the third eye. When the natural eye is closed, the third eye automatically opens, which is why meditation is such an important function in our human system. Talk about And this is our Shakti Vel, the emerald veil that we got from Swami back in 2008. Swami with the veil when he came to UCBK. So after he manifested that for Jonathan, it was right in the wake of a Mother Divine Darshan with a huge group of people in the American Maheshwari program. Maheshwari is a powerful system to get her darshan quickly. Anyway, so after the veil was manifested, Swami told us, keep it hidden, keep it underwater if you can, or just keep it hidden, like nobody should see it. I mean, 64 people saw it get manifested, but then after that, no. So
we were instructed we had to meditate on this place in the early mornings as part of our group process, which we did. After we had seen the mother, and everybody, like they're gobsmacked. She was very Kali. She was super fierce. She was super intense. I saw her moving. Some people saw her stationary. She was like the hand up in the blessing and with the tongue dripping, and she was pretty intense. I think most people saw her for maybe a second or two on that round. It was not lengthy because there were 64 people in our group, and then Swami did for the LA group another 40 something people that night after us. It's like he was a busy guy that night with the mother. Anyway, we were then sitting in the main temple, the Baba temple, and women are crying. They're gobsmacked. They've seen the face of God. It is female. Everybody eyes open. This was not a trance meditation dream. No way. She's as physical as I am. And the energy blasting off of her was enough for many lifetimes, I would think. It was really something. So Swami comes, gets Jonathan, says, Jonathan, stand up, man. Take off all your clothes except your underwear. And then typical Swami, good thing you're wearing underwear, man. So Jonathan strips down to nothing except his underpants. Swami ties this, you can see this white lungi, a white silk piece of cloth around Jonathan, like a sarong. It's too big, so he ties it up around the chest in a cute little bow. And then he says, I'm going to put the energy of the mother in him. Has another colleague come and smack Jonathan 5 times on the back of his chest, right behind the heart. And it's 1:30 in the morning. It's all marble floors. It's pretty cavernous temple. So it sounds like cannon fire getting these smacks on his back. And then at that point, Swami starts going like this. I think you guys can see me in the window, right? He starts doing his whole arm in a huge rotation. And then his arm goes all the way up, shoots up to the roof of the temple. It's at least 16, 20 feet. It's a very high building. Through the air, just goes through the air. I just saw it like stretch through the ether. And he came down with this in his hand, which I have here and I will show as well. So we didn't know for quite a long time what this was. We were very clear that this was a weapon of Mother Divine. That we knew. And he hands it to Jonathan. And he says, Jonathan, where did this come from? And Jonathan says, it came from the mother. And I'm like, wow, how do you know that so quick? I mean, without missing a beat. I'm like, dang, okay. Swami told us it is solid emerald. It is not from this planet. It is millions of years old. And it's very clear it's one of her weapons. Yeah, very clear. Okay, that's kind of all we knew. He told us keep it hidden when you get back to America. A whole lot of things. Later, I asked Jonathan, I said, how did you know so rapidly that came from the mother? And he said, oh, when Kaleshwar's arm was going like this, there was a swirl on the top of the temple. And when Jonathan said that, I was like, oh my God, I saw that too, or felt it, or perceived it, or whatever. And then Jonathan said, when Kaleshwar's arm went up into the top of that swirl, her big brown hand with all the bangles, the bracelets like the Indian ladies wear, came out of the swirl with this in her hand and gave it to Kaleshwar, who then gave it to Jonathan. So I was like, oh my God, well, that would tell us how he knew it was mother. He got a second darshan there. So she manifested this through Kaleshwar for Jonathan. And it took us some years before we found out from the mother herself that this is it's the Shakti Vel. The veil is a spear. Someone asked, is it a wand? It's a spear. It's one of her many weapons in her arms to destroy negativity. And it is, not to go too far afield, but it is the weapon that she gives to Lord Muruga. Muruga is great, one of the great deities, if you will, in the Indian pantheon. He is the general of the divine armies coming to destroy negativity. And she gives him this to take out the demons who represent fear, arrogance, and greed. So kind of finishing school for the supernatural people who tend to go down on those things. Oh yeah, you can really see when we hold it up to the light how emeraldy it is. It's completely translucent. It's a big power object, is how we would call it. And the power object means, we use it for healing. We use it in the divine work. We use it to help. Yes, exactly. Kathy writes, we need that energy now to clear negativity. Yes, more than ever on this planet, I would say. When Kaleshwar came to visit us in Santa Cruz in California in 2011, he was like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And we're like, what? What are you talking about? And he said, yes, Linda, in answer to your question, the image of this object will help you. Yes, you can print it and have it on the wall. Mother Divine told us it's very good to have it somewhere where you can see it. It will help you get clarity. The veil actually comes up through the human system and its point ends at the third eye. So that tells us quite a lot. Or anyway, so he came to Santa Cruz and he was like, where is it? And we're like, what are you talking about? He said, the weapon. And we're like, well, you told us to have it hidden. He's like, no, don't hide it, guys. Okay. So anyway, we brought it out and Swami had a nice little play with it. And then he touched it to our Shirdi Baba statue. And from that point on, we were quite transparent about the fact that we had this. So that came out of that darshan with Mother. It tells us a lot about who Jonathan is. Yeah. But yes, very good to print it out, put it up on the wall and look at it or have it on your desktop and just look at it, especially when you need extra clarity, when you need extra focus, when you need to be very strong, even though a lot of winds are whipping around, a lot of challenges are coming in your life. Yes. And this full moon actually is that time of the year when it's celebrated in South India called Thaipusam, when Mother gave this weapon to Lord Muruga. Can't wait for our full moon fire homa that we'll be doing. White lines, 3 lines of Shiva, they represent the gunas, the qualities of this creation, the Rajo, the Tamo, and the Sattvic gunas, the extreme activity, the extreme creativity of the Raja guna, the incredible, what do you call, sluggish selfishness of the Tamo guna, the egoism, and the beautiful purity and tranquility and peaceful and divine nature of the Sattvic guna, the three qualities of the creation held by Lord Shiva, God the Father, on his third eye, balancing, always balancing. So this came out of that darshan, and to see the raw power of Mother expressed in a form like that, and then to be able to carry it and bless everybody with it is a big deal. It's not a small thing.
So Swami, one of the only times that he ever mentions Muruga in all of the transcripts and everything is the story of the battle between Ganesh and Muruga, which we saw in the Ganesh teaching, where the way Swami tells it, both of them want to sit on Mother's lap, which is kind of interesting because he's saying Ganesh never wants to sit on her lap. But anyway, so they want to both sit on her lap. And so Mother says, okay, well, whichever one of you can run around the whole earth, the whole universe faster can win and can sit on my lap. So Muruga immediately takes off on his peacock and starts going around the whole planet, flying. He goes very quickly. His nature is he swoops in on the peacock, fixes everything, and then swoops out. He's a quick fix-it guy, which is why I love Muruga so much. Some of our bosses can drag things, but Muruga's like straight with the medicine, fix it, get out. So he's circumambulating the whole planet, right? And poor Ganesh is like, oh, but I'm just fat and I can't do that. And I'm not fast like my brother. And then some Rishi comes along and says, well, if you just make pradakshina around your parents, if you walk around Shiva and Shakti, it's the same thing. You've gone around the universe. And says the Rishi, if you go around a cow that's giving birth, it's the same. And so Ganesh does both in the time that it's taking Muruga his 3 times around the whole globe. And so it's Ganesh who wins that experience. Swami's comment on that was, this is part of the mechanism of how to create an Atma lingam in the human system. This dynamic between Ganesha going around Shiva and Shakti, and Muruga trying to circumambulate the whole planet. Star of David, which turns out is Muruga's yantra. Triangle up, Shiva. Triangle down, Shakti. Here they put the Tamil Om in the middle of it. One of the most ancient symbols on our planet, the Star of David, right? Well, it turns out it's way older than Judaism. And you'll see it on temples in India. Ancient places. They'll have that inscribed. Yeah, that's Muruga. The perfect union of Shiva and Shakti. And here, again, they put the Om in the middle. His syllables, Saravanabhava, those 6 aspects become the points of the 6-pointed star. This we learned straight from Mother Divine. She taught us quite a lot about Muruga. And I put Swami Kaleshwar's Om in the middle. But those points, Saravanabhava, that name of Muruga sitting in the, coming up out of that part of Ganga where the marshes are, you're absolutely invoking him directly through those bijas. They're pretty powerful. And even you could take that as a mantra just to bring Muruga. Om Saravanabhava. One could do that. So it's interesting, isn't it? Like how that predates its use widely, of course, through the Jewish community. It also tells us a lot about the origin of Judaism. Obviously, it's linked very strongly to Muruga. So in our parampara, Jesus Christ, Shirdi Baba, Lord Buddha, Mahavatar Babaji, Sri Ramakrishna, and Ramana Maharshi, there's a lot of Muruga energy running through these characters. Most especially Ramana Maharshi, Mahavatar Babaji. Jesus has a fair amount of it. Even Baba would flip in and out of that aspect. And of course, this guy. Oh my. So Mother gives Muruga the Shakti Veil. This is a big deal. The Shakti Veil, there are some demons running around who represent greed, fear, and I believe it's arrogance. And those demons need to be taken down, right? So Mother presents Muruga as the right character to do that. So she gives him the Shakti Veil to go and kill those demons. And of course he does. So his weapon comes from her. He's so deep with the Mother. You know, he's so super duper connected to her. And when she gives him the veil and he goes and kills those demons, indirectly, you know, those 3 characteristics, arrogance, fear, and greed, are like the 3 major giant blocks that the saints go down on. Fear, of course, primordial. We all have it. It expresses many different ways. Arrogance or pride, you know, like what happens to the saints, what happens to holy people generally is they get a big infusion of the Shakti and they really get bigger than their station. They get bigger in their egoism. They get bigger in their blocks. And the kind of, don't you know who I am? Of that woman saint having her buttons pushed by Muruga, is a very strong expression of that kind of egoic, you know, I'm so divine, I'm beyond reproach. Oh yeah, really? Nice try on that one. it happens unconsciously. It happens when people get a lot of Shakti. And also if they start believing the hype about themselves, if they get a lot of acclaim for being a holy person. After a while, if they start to absorb that and accept that and forget that it's only the God who is extraordinary and special, it's not any of us individually, then they're in this kind of big ego game. And usually that's when Muruga comes and pops their bubble. Mother giving him the Shakti Vel to take those demons down, I think, is a broad statement about his capacity to take those demons in us down, mostly fear, greed, and arrogance. And those are the blocks that you see the saints crash on. Greed, oh my God, you know, they're so saintly and so holy to a certain point, and then they start accruing material power, and then it turns on them. The arrogance, I think, also makes them feel that they're beyond the rules, that they don't have to operate the way the normal people do. And so you see them in, you know, sex scandals with their students or whatever. You see them in financial scandals. You see all kinds of impropriety happening at a level where the saints are just beyond themselves. They have forgotten what their reality is. It's a real thing, and that's why Muruga is so helpful. And I feel like that's, you know, Baba with his big stick indirectly is like wielding that same kind of energy. So the Shakti Vel takes down that kind of stuff. She gives that to him to do that. I call him finishing school for the siddhas because of those blocks. They're like the subtle, refined ones. This is what he looked like when I first met him. Like he was this age and this kind of visage, and that there's Mother Mary just behind his, on the right of him. There's something very Muruga-esque about these expressions. That's why I put these in here. This is Swami with the mother at Bukkapatnam, which is 45-minute drive from Penakonda. This mother statue there, she's very fierce, and she was in disrepair. The temple itself, it's just her. I mean, it's a relatively small space. She's gigantic. She's sitting on the floor. So floor to ceiling, she's however tall she is. Anyway, Swami started to repair that place, and then he had a lot of major experiences there, and then he would bring people there to have very strong experiences with the mother as well. Miraculous experiences. Jonathan's famous 27-minute darshan with the mother was in this, it was right there. They walked in this temple. Jonathan said the statue just completely dissolved and disappeared, and then there was like a woman standing there interacting with him. Muruga's nature with the mother, you know, it's interesting. Shiva stands back from her. Like, he's impervious to her illusion. He's always a little distant, you know, like the way Shirdi Baba handled the mother. Like, hey, you go over there. You do your stuff over there. Leave me alone. I'm here in my work. And often Baba's way, he was very gruff with the mother when she would come. He's like, I'm busy, you know, which drives any woman crazy when the guy is like, no, I'm too busy for you. But Baba's way of handling the illusion was just not to invite it so much. That's very Shiva-like. Yeah, stay away, blah, who cares? Muruga's different. He's like right there in the center of the swirl with her. He's like perfectly happy to be in the hurricane that is the mother, and he can operate in it fluidly, smoothly. He's like a genius in the wildness of the mother. And, you know, looking back on Swami Kaleshwar all those years, he was operating like that. He was completely operating like that, totally comfortable in all of her wild Maya and knowing exactly how to work with her to bring the reality back of her and of the consciousness to the creation. That's not easy. She doesn't make it easy. But he was so clear like that, sitting in her. There he is when they put in the Mahisasura Mardini statue, the Kanaka Durga in Penakonda, the 9-foot mother. You look at him with her, he's like a child to the mother. He's so earnest with her. He knows exactly how to handle her. Really knows how to handle her through his huge love and his incredible clarity. No matter what the illusions are, Swami knew exactly how to navigate them. Very, very Muruga. Muruga and his mama. And the veil. Mm, that's Ganga.
Without Ganga, there's no Muruga. Jai Lord Muruga. And this is the end of our video, and thank you all so, so, so much for watching. We hope you join us for our Thaipusam full moon, and have a Muruga day.